Hey guys, and welcome back. After 3 long months of sitting on my ass all day, I am happy to announce that the epidemic has given us a break, and the regulations will be a lot looser, probably up until September. We expect turbulent times for the next few years, but I think some people might remember isolation fondly as a time of self-improvement. Some started working out, others started new hobbies, others spent more time with their families, or friends, or people they live with. Yet, the biggest difference I noticed during this pandemic was that we got a lot closer to our leaders. Some we grew more attached to, others not so much. People seemed also way more informed about politics than ever before. Corona brought many new and old problems back into public consciousness. One in particular is the problem with illegal workers in the field of agriculture. After many years of being overlooked by our authorities, Minister of Agriculture Teresa Bellanova passed a law that might be the first step to solving this taboo. But who is Bellanova? Before I get into that, let's go look at what the problem is with field laborers and why do they work in these conditions. Like in most developed countries, Italy has a primary sector that does not invest a lot on manual labor, but rather on capital and machinery. In 2016, barely 7% of contract workers came from the primary sector. However, these statistics only include the workers who are conventionally hired, as in with contracts. Illegal workers are extremely common here in Italy, especially in low-effort positions such as fruit picking. When you do not have a contract, you are immune to any kind of regulation. Your pay, your working conditions, your health and vacation is all up to your boss, who may not treat you as a valuable employee, rather a replaceable sack of meat. Landowners often team up in cartels to hire, abuse and exchange among each other these underpaid workers. Since not covered by regulations, very often these workers get just a few euros per hour and live in terrible conditions. They are abandoned by the state and their safety is at the mercy of a bunch of spineless criminals who do not care about them. Oftentimes, especially recently, to be trapped in these circles are illegal immigrants from Africa or the Middle East. And since they have no documents, they are essentially invisible to the state, which means they basically have no rights to be given. This is pretty much exploitation of workers in the most obvious sense, and I'm not one to use that word lightly. So what has our government done in the last 20 or 30 years to combat this total abuse of human rights? Not much. And things have only gotten worse. I wouldn't blame the central government too much though, because most of the issues should be handled mostly by local mayors and regional governors, who are oftentimes corrupt and play along these feudalistic schemes, especially the mayors in small towns. Again, due to the lack of documents of many of these people, many of the higher-ups are mostly unaware of their existence, hence the problem in general is invisible to them. Here enters Teresa Bellanova. Bellanova is part of the new Italia Viva party led by former minister Matteo Renzi. She is a liberal with very progressive views. Before getting into politics, she worked at a workers' union, so she was aware of the struggle of the field laborers and kept the issue at heart throughout most of her career. While I do not agree with many of her views and ideas, I really have to admit that she has the guts to fight for them, and it shows. It was during these troublesome times that she decided to try to fulfill her life goal. As you know, during this pandemic, most people were not allowed to go to work. This meant that there was no one to pick up fruits and vegetables during harvesting season. As phase 2 commenced, there was an extremely high demand for labor in the primary sector. To help undocumented immigrants to get out of this situation, Bellanova passed a law that would give free citizenship and a safe 6 months work contract to whoever illegal could manage to find a job at one of those farms. Her main intention was to find a way to identify these once invisible people with no rights and to free them from borderline slavery. However, there is a lot wrong with this plan. First, this benefits only undocumented illegal workers and not locals who were abused by their employers just as much and also live in poverty. Secondly, hiring legally is still way less profitable for an employer to hire illegally, so chances that many of these workers will find a tax-abiding boss ready to hire them and and give them citizenship is pretty low. Thirdly, their citizenship, and so their rights, will expire like their contracts, so after 6 months. There might be some future ways to renew it, but for now there is no sign of a renewal option. Fourthly, due to the current economic situation, many people have actually been looking for jobs in fruit-picking sector, including many Italians who were more than willing to apply for a regular contract. Therefore, it may seem unnecessary to some to legalize illegals just to satisfy the new job demand. Bellanova clearly had good intentions, but her plan was unfocused, superficial and neglectful towards the real problems of the abused workers and of the primary sector in general. Everyone was very much against it. The right said it was poorly planned and unfair to give out free citizenship as if it was nothing, while the left said it was too little too late and that there needed to be a way to renew their citizenship somehow. Personally, I think she rushed through it. I really see the potential of a law like that to kill two birds with one stone. As it is now, it may free some illegals from the claws of the mafia and give them some good working conditions, but too much power is still given to the employer, who needs to give him the contract in the first place. There's a lot that needs to be done here, because as it is now, it creates more questions than answers. Bellanova's law has led to a new movement for workers' rights led by oh my god, I cannot pronounce that. Abu Bakar Soumaoro, another workers' union activist. He calls for the legalization of human rights rather than workers.
Strumentalizzare la nostra miseria sociale e lavorativa, seduti nelle sontuose stanze del potere, per convenienza politica è cinismo disumano. Ci rivolgiamo alle forze politiche di questo governo. Regolarizzate tutti gli esseri umani, non per convenienza, ma per dovere di Stato. Liberate tutti i braccianti, italiani e non, dallo strapotere delle catene della grande distribuzione organizzata. Se volete davvero combattere lo sfruttamento, abbiate l'audacia di regolarizzare le persone. Non per utilità di mercato, ma semplicemente perché sono degli esseri umani.
I hope the issue will be sorted out soon, somehow. I wish I had a solution, but that's another can of worms I do not have the knowledge to deal with. The whole situation with workers' rights, the protests and Bellanova deserves a lot more attention in my opinion. Sadly, I'm one of the few talking about Italian politics in English, and I can't possibly cover everything on my own, but I'm not alone. There is a new online newspaper which I'm part of called FUNAMBOLI, which means rope walkers in Italian. We are a small group of aspiring young writers and artists looking to share our diverse views of certain world events from a down-to-earth perspective. Recently, we have started publishing our articles also in English, so if you want to know more about Italian politics, be sure to check out Funamboli's website. Link will be in the description. There are even some of my own articles up there. I also do editing for our videos on Instagram and help with the translations, so if you can get enough Italian news, check us out. We are one of the few Italian newspapers to write in English. I think that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Take care and I will see you next time.
Da oggi, per la scelta che ha fatto questo governo, gli invisibili saranno meno invisibili. Quelli che sono stati brutalmente sfruttati nelle campagne o anche nelle così false cooperative dove venivano date persone in prestito per lavorare nelle famiglie, per lavorare come badanti, come colf, non saranno invisibili perché potranno accedere a un permesso di soggiorno per lavoro e noi li aiuteremo ad essere persone che riconquistano la loro identità, la loro dignità e da oggi noi possiamo dire che vince lo Stato perché lo Stato è più forte della criminalità, lo Stato è più forte del caporalato.